Hello again, and welcome to Faith, Family, and Politics. I'm your host, Joshua Cummins. If you happen to hear a drum beat, I don't know if you can or not. I don't know if the microphone's is picking him up, but my dog Presley, he's a golden retriever, and God love him. His tail, when he sees somebody, he starts just hitting it on everything, and it sounds like an old drum. Yeah.
I'll knock you over.
He'll beat you to death. Yeah, I was going to say.
He certainly goes to the beat of his own drum.
Or his own tail.
Boom.
Okay.
But since you're here to join us on Faith, Family, and Politics, we know that you're already subscribed to Revolver Broadcasting, because why wouldn't you be, right? You're gonna like this video. You're going to comment on this video, and if you would please share this video, because sharing is caring. It's magic. Have you ever seen that before, James? You see that?
Even magic?
You want to see the trick again?
Yeah, I don't think it was there that time.
It was a little delayed, but it happened.
Wasn't a Houdini.
Yeah. We'll get better. There's different people controlling the soundboard today, so. But now that you guys have got caught up on all that kind of stuff, make sure that you're going into our website, revolverbroadcasting.com, or go to it, rather, and make sure that you're clicking on shop. And when you click on shop, you're going to see some amazing threads, because you need new threads, right? Let's admit it.
Yep.
All those old shirts are just worn out and you need to get rid of them. And you're going to see things like the Trump fight shirt. There it is. And you're going to see things like the Trumpamania shirt. There's another shirt that you're going to absolutely enjoy. Oh, yeah, brother.
James, you're missing out. You're supposed to do that.
Sorry, I didn't know. I thought I was getting blocked out.
You want to do the Arrow? Bring back up the Trumpamania shirt so that James can do it.
We got to practice. Love it.
That was the presentation there. For those of you on audio, you're missing out. Go back and watch on video. You gotta go back and watch on video. Otherwise, you're missing out. And those of you watching on video, go back and listen on audio, because then you can imagine how cool it looked before. And that's a whole lot of fun too. Without further ado, now that you guys have seen some of the cool things that we offer, next to me, joining us tonight, she has her show called The Agenda with Crystalrisotti. Crystalrisotti. She's got a guy,
but he's not here. I was showing my shirt because I bought one. I bought some merch on my own show, but
from The Agenda, yeah,
advertising.
We got a little bit of an overshirt, so you can't really see it on the screen. But if you go to revolverbroadcasting.com and you click on shop, you'll see all kinds of different colors and styles
and shows
all being represented there. And we've got some new designs coming for you as soon as I can get back into our provider, and you'll see new styles and new things coming out as soon as I can get back in there. Our provider has been a little bit wonky lately. Across from Crystal, you know him, you love him, my brother James.
Good to be back. TGIF.
Yeah.
Well, for us, but for everybody out there,
yes,
they won't see this till Saturday or
sure.
later. So, we're time travelers, though. That's what podcasters do, But thanks for joining us, James.
Thanks for having me.
And next to him, we've got her joining us and bringing the very special message tonight, the softer side of Faith, Family, and Politics, Yvonne Metcalfe.
Yay.
Hi, people.
She's also a very famous delegate, very famous delegate candidate.
Yes, I am running for the Indiana House of Representatives, District 89.
Yes.
If you live in Indianapolis on the east side, that's me. Please vote for me.
Yep.
I'll do the very best I can.
And we endorse her.
Thank you. It's huge, let me tell you.
Huge. It's totally huge on the ticket. And we have some East Siders in the audience over there. Of course, they'll never turn the cameras around. They're fake news. Have you heard that? That's thousands in attendance.
Yep.
Oh my, that's funny.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Miss Yvonne, I'm to the understanding.
I have a fan club.
You didn't even know, did you?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I appreciate it. I've had all kinds of new experiences with this thing. So yeah.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you,
All the
thank you,
accolades. To the understanding that you have a message for us tonight, and what's the title of that?
Fear not.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh, I like
Look at
that.
For those of you on audio, it's a really cool overlay. You gotta go over and see it on video. You just gotta see it. Would you mind leading us in prayer before we get into the message?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. Thank you for your word. Thank you that you've told us not to be afraid and to trust in you. And I pray that we would all do that in the many different things that we have to deal with. Well, thank you for your word. And pray if anyone doesn't know you, that they would come to know you as their Savior. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. So getting started with this, with everything that's happened in the past couple weeks, it has been crazy, right?
Very.
And so I'm sure you heard the phrase "fear not," and have
Repeated.
three phrases today: fear not, faith over fear, and fight, fight, fight. And normally I don't talk about just people in my devotional, but this is not a normal time. And I suppose I only chose those quotes by President Trump because they are actually all Bible-based and something I needed to hear, and probably along with a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
So let's just delve into it. But first, let's take a look at his second statement after the assassination attempt. And by the way, let's keep him in our prayers because he could still, be attacked. And he's under a lot of pressure, temptation every day by evil forces. So thank God for now he's held the line, and I believe it's because of divine intervention. I really do, and strength of character for such a time as this.
Mm-hmm.
So his statement, I've got it right here. Donald J. Trump, thank you to everyone for your thoughts and prayers yesterday, as it was God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening. We will fear not, but instead remain resilient in our faith and defiant in the face of wickedness. Our love goes out to the other victims and their families. We pray for the recovery of those who were wounded and hold in our hearts the memory of the citizen who was so horribly killed. In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true character as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win. I truly love our country and love you all, and look forward to speaking to our great nation this week from Wisconsin. Prayers, DJT. And, when that came out, I immediately shared it because so many people have told me he's not a spiritual person. He's not really a believer. Listen to what the man said. It is God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening.
I think it changed him.
I think
the
it did
event
too.
changed him.
There's a picture of him on the ground. And I really feel like he was praying in that moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll ever really talk about that, but I really feel.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. That image, and I can put it as an overlay later, but that image does look like he's in a prayerful moment, even if it's for a few seconds. I mean, because those few seconds probably felt like an eternity to him.
Yeah.
And he had
I'm sure they did.
Just seconds to decide if he was going to stay down and let himself be defeated or jump back up. And well, he told him to let him get his shoes, which we all know. Let me get my shoes is the new hold my beer.
I love that. But I don't understand why his shoes came off. I kind of missed that.
He said that they tackled him so hard.
Oh,
that his shoes
his shoes came off. As a matter of fact, they threw one of his shoes off the stage, and as his shoe came off the stage when they tossed it out to get it away from him, the insole flopped out. And there was all these people online. What is that? Is that a tracking device? Do they have a track? Did they know exactly where he was going to be? And I'm like,
orthotic.
no, it's literally just the insole of his shoe. It's probably a high-end Dr. Scholl's, you know.
Right. With as much as he's on his feet.
Lined with gold, of course.
I'm
But,
behind on that.
All
I've been
right.
researching all kinds of stuff. The shoe was the last thing I was going to get to. That's so
Oh
funny.
my goodness, that's so funny. So anyway, they said that he was subdued and somber, but I mean, how else would you be after you've been shot at?
Right.
But he said, we will fear not. He was already determined. We will fear not, but instead remain resilient in our faith and defiant in the face of wickedness. When was the last time you were defiant in the face of wickedness? Man, now, I know you have been. Don't look at me like this. This girl knows, okay? There are some people who do this well.
yeah.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
It actually is. Yeah, it's a great thing.
It's almost like she became part of a network that has built its entire reputation on being a voice of dissent.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, right.
This one right here, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Go to revolverbroadcasting.com and click on shop. Get your own threads.
There you go. Now you got it. There's your little plug. Okay.
I need a
Real
new
quick.
shirt that says something to that effect.
Yeah. We'll talk about it again later.
The voice of dissent. There you go.
We're
That's
talking
good.
about godly things right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so anyway, we're supposed to fear not. Okay, so after watching all of the scenarios and the video of the event several times, it was apparent that God protected him. And there's really no other explanation, whether it was an angel or God himself tapped him on the shoulder. For some reason, he turned his head exactly the right moment, or he would have been killed. And when you live through something like that, I think you have a deeper appreciation for life and a sense of purpose.
And a humbling.
And a humbling. And that gratitude, very grateful. Exactly. That's the right word. And he's always been somewhat fearless, but think of this. He's cheated death. God intervened, and now he's free to do what he is supposed to do with his life. Because the last thing that we have to fear is death.
Mm-hmm. And Christ overcame that.
And Christ overcame that.
Yeah.
I truly believe in that moment, and I don't know what he heard or what was said but I truly believe in that moment he was either influenced or something whispered in his ear and said, "Turn to the right."
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't come out and say it, but I really feel like
no, he didn't say that. He just said that he turned his head to look at the chart, and he did. But yeah, definitely.
It was like a split second of something. I feel like something influenced that.
I absolutely
he knew
believe
he had
that.
to look at that chart at that moment.
I believe that too, whether it was subconscious or whether it was something, that he noticed.
Because that chart had been up for a good 12 seconds before he turns his head.
He was talking about it. He always rambles a little bit, and he was warming up to it, and he was getting ready to address it. And then when he turned, that was it. So, a second sooner or a second later, and we would be having a different conversation. So there's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, let's go ahead and say God gets all the glory.
Yes.
Since he said it was God alone.
To God be the glory. Yes.
And that's the example for us all. Mm-hmm. Who's our helper? God alone.
Yep.
People can help. They can do his work to help, but at the end of the day, it is him. And sometimes it's supernaturally.
Yep.
So secondly, we're told hundreds of times in the Bible to fear not. I looked it up. It was like 175 times or something. So God says that to us all the time. And what did Trump say? A direct quote, fear not. Fear gets me into more than anything, I think sometimes. It causes me to stray, causes me to not believe, to not have faith. It gets me in trouble. Joshua 10:25 is a good Bible verse for that. If God calls us to do something, he'll provide. He'll be with you. He will give you direction. The next statement is faith over fear, which is printed on the new Trump t-shirts with Trump's name in the middle. Again, he truly believed he's called for this, and therefore he's trusting God to carry him through. So he's not quitting. And he says all the time, never surrender. We quit. I think we quit really easily. I know I do. It's something I've realized lately. And so many times it's like a lack of faith or fear of the future. Anyway, so I've struggled with that. So my pastor has encouraged me not to quit so easily. And now the president so God sends his messages through all kinds of avenues sometimes.
He does.
Yeah.
And I think the times are just like that because it's very uncertain. And there are a lot of people that are looking around saying, what's going to happen next? So we can't afford to be afraid. We still have to trust that God has everything under control. Mm-hmm. And he has the ultimate plan. And he knows how that's all going to go and how we're all going to fit in. And so we don't need to worry. We just need to do what we're supposed to do and let him take care of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
100%.
100%. The third statement, the president said, and one of the first things he said after being shot when he stood up was fight, fight, fight. And that was him putting faith over fear into action. And that's what we need to do. He looked out at the crowd. He saw the people were afraid, and he wanted to remind everybody it's not over. And God confirmed it wasn't over. And, when I think of that, I think of Israel. They got so close to the promised land. They were sentenced to wander 40 years in the wilderness. They were inches away because of lack of faith. The only two people who had faith were Caleb and Joshua. Let's go in the land. God's given it to us. And the rest of the people said, no, we can't do it. They're too big. They're too strong. And so here they are wandering for 40 years in the wilderness. Is that what we want?
No.
Do we want endless suffering? Because
I heard that all the way from over there in the audience, in the producer's booth. Sterling saying, no, fight, fight, fight. Right, Sterling? He said, absolutely.
We don't want to do that. We want to have victory. We want to have our crowns and rewards to give to Jesus when we see him. And so we need to keep moving forward. Like Paul, I've run the race. My race. I have kept the faith. So how is that practical in your life or in my life? How is that? Somebody give me an example. How's that practical for you when you say you're going to run your race and you're not going to quit? Oh, come on, Crystal. You got it.
We'll let Crystal talk a little bit.
She's ready.
Well, I told God about 3 years ago now, whatever you put in front of me, I'm going to do. Because in my mid-50s now, I have so many stories over life that happened that when I was young, I would fret over, I'd be afraid, I'd be upset over. But eventually you learn that God doesn't prevent bad things from happening, but for those that are his children, he always makes it the best possible situation. Mm-hmm. Things like my tire went flat and blew. Oh, look, there's a tire place right across the street. Mm-hmm. Things like that. Like he just does it. And so after living that so many times,
he provides.
Yeah, you build the faith. Mm-hmm. You build the faith through those trials. Mm-hmm. And you can look back and see all the times that he was there and provided for you. And so when I told him I would do whatever he put in front of me, I got involved with a parent group, and that led to another group out of Dallas that I'm affiliated with, and that led to speaking engagements, and then that led to the podcast. And I don't know what he's doing. Here's the thing.
He's taking you step by step.
He is, but here's the thing that I've had to change over the past year in my perspective that goes along with this. I also was brought up to be a planner. Mm-hmm. And so I had my whole life planned out, and then life happened and none of it happened right. Right? I have had to learn the hard way that walking with the Lord is a step at a time. That I don't know where I'm going, and I'm not really worried about where I'm going. Mm-hmm. I'm just walking. Mm-hmm. Or like the song Ocean says, I'm riding the wave of God. I don't know where it's going to dump me out or where it's going to take me in the meantime. I'm just riding the wave. It is so freeing when you can get to that point, because then the fear does subside.
I think maybe your plan should just be to follow God.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I mean, we do, and it's okay. I'm not saying it's not good to make plans. I mean, he gives us a brain to make plans too.
I get caught up in that, but
yeah,
I mean, I tried to tell my son when I was raising him that life's going to slap you so many times upside the head that I think one of the best skills I could empower him to have was resilience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when things do happen, you're able to look at it and go, okay, that threw me over here. That wave threw me over here. How do I get back where I need to be and make the best of it?
Mm-hmm. Right. Don't quit.
Yeah.
And talking about making the best of it, that aligns with where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, after losing my day job, that closed that door. It's not a forever thing though. I mean, obviously because it was a great job. I really loved all the people I worked with. But I've talked about it before on here where that door closed because I needed this window open because I had been consistently in prayer to get more time. I didn't know that he was going to answer it this way, but to get more time with Revolver, to be able to focus on growing this company and making it profitable. And so running that race, running the race and getting out there and getting competitive on YouTube and Rumble and all these different social media platforms and things. It's not an easy race to run, but I have faith that this is what God wanted. Otherwise, why would it have happened just that way? Like things seem to be lining up a little too well for it not to be the very thing that he wants from me right now.
Right.
It doesn't mean I won't get another day job soon enough and I can do both again. But for right now, this is the season I'm in. And I really am trying to take the best of every bit of this opportunity so that, people can see shows
you can move forward with this.
Yeah. And see
you
shows.
Can make it what you want it to be, what the dream is. And God says he'll give you the desires of your heart. So if you stay close to him, and this is a desire of your heart, then he's going to help you to do that.
And going along with that, being humble enough to know that I'm not in control and just let him do his work. Because I'm going to work as hard as I can because he's going to help those that are helping themselves, of course.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sowing and reaping.
But at the same time, having faith that he's going to take that and
grow it
and bear the fruit along with me and show me exactly where he wants me to be next. Because I've had a lot of things just kind of, I don't know if you can hear that on audio or not. It just keeps kind of lining up. Here, do this. So, we're running the race.
And let me ask you a question. 10 years ago, if you had been in the same situation, would you have the faith that you have now?
No.
I would say the same thing. My point is Christianity, the Christian life is a journey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you mature over time, just like physically you mature over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have to just keep growing to get to the point where you just have faith and you're not really afraid anymore.
Yeah. We've discussed this before, you and I, in personal conversation, but I've had enough of those painful moments and those moments of roadblock that, to quote a good friend of mine, and I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants me to say his name or not, but he said, pivot.
Mm-hmm.
God may have put this here so you can pivot and make sure that you get good at pivoting because he may want you to be able to say, okay, here's the problem and here's a new solution. Because there's always a way. No matter how hard the task, there is always a way. And Alan we've talked about this before, way back in the episodes where Alan will tell you, it's just a small example, but it's an example nonetheless, where he would go, I got this idea for an episode of The Laughing Libertarian. And I'd say, okay, well, let me do a little bit of research, and we would figure out a way. It looked impossible. It looked absolutely impossible. But somehow, some way, God would show me. Somehow he would influence me just to be in the right places, whether through the internet or through friends or whatever. And be like, and I'd figure it out. And by the time he'd get in the studio and record, be like, oh yeah, look at this. He'd be like, you're amazing. I said, no. I ain't taking the credit.
Right.
It fits right in. How did that happen? You had a little help, right?
A little help.
Okay.
Well, the best help, some would say.
The best. Absolutely. Thank you, Jesus.
James has got
Okay.
stories. I
Yeah.
bet.
What about you, James? Tell us some stories.
Brother
man.
James.
I've escaped death enough. I'm quite a few times. I call myself a cat. 9 lives. I think I've got about 5 left, probably. Yeah, one too many stories. We don't have
Can you
enough
share
time.
one?
Oh, you don't want to know all those.
Well, you can just pick one and
Oh, okay. Let's see. I had a van fall on me, or my arm has saved my life. Because my arm wasn't there, I would have died instantly. That's what the doctor said.
Wow.
I'll give you another one. I took the full voltage of a house. Electrocuted. Lights went dim. Dad laughed. It was kind of funny, I guess.
How long ago has this been?
I was 17, I think, when the car fell on me. 16, 17. I still have a scar from it on my arm. It's not as bad, but yeah, it ripped my whole forearm out. And I actually had a penetration mark in my chest. And they said, yeah, if your arm wasn't there, you would have died instantly.
yeah,
Wow.
the jack
it's
had
a
failed.
reminder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that God's not finished with you yet.
I've had a few more death stories, but sinkhole opened up underneath my car.
Mm-hmm. I remember that he was on the news.
Yeah, I was on the national news for that one.
What?
Yeah, I was actually
Yeah.
on CNN and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, those sinkholes are something else. They're popping up everywhere. But
You know what? When that sinkhole happened, he wasn't worried about himself.
I was worried about my dog.
I was on the phone with him because he's like, yeah, I'm okay.
So
I'm just worried about my dog. The dog.
That's my grandfather's Jeep.
Well, yeah, Grandpa gonna kill me. I'm alive now, but Grandpa gonna kill me because he's driving Grandpa's Jeep.
Yeah.
oh my.
Were you stopped in it?
I watched the car go through this standing water. I went through it and it just right
Grandma went up,
Wow.
yeah, swallowed him up.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay. Well, so God saved your life.
A lot.
And he still
quite a
wants
few
you.
times. Like I
yeah,
said, I
he
think I
still
got like
wants
4
you
lives,
here.
5 lives left, I think.
Yeah, you're here for a reason.
You're here for a reason.
And the most recent one,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Yeah, but if you don't mind, if you want to talk a little bit about that too, because that one scared us all.
that's
most recently.
almost, what month is this now? July, almost a year, almost a year now.
Almost
Yeah.
a year, yeah.
Last August, yeah, when went fishing, fell out, in a coma for 3 days, in the hospital for 6. They was about to put me on bypass, and they pretty much given up, thinking I was not going to wake up. And they pretty much was going to say he's going to be on a machine until he comes awake, and that
Wow.
was about it. And never could figure out what happened.
But
the third day, I woke up out of my coma, and that was it.
You were fine?
I was fine.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out real quick to our good friend Lainey Quinlan, who had been praying every single day. She took time out of her day for hours to pray for you every single day. She knew everything was going on because we paused the program. We were here recording that moment it happened. I had to swap out and let Sterling take over the rest of the show so that I can come be with you. But she messaged me on the second day, and she says, I've been praying real hard, and God told me. I know that this gets some people worked up when somebody says God told me, but she said, God told me in my prayer that he's going to wake up on the third day. And wouldn't you know it?
It's like the resurrection too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God's got a big purpose for you. When it was the third day, man, it's there's too much, linked up there. You got to
Still have memory problems from it, but
yeah. But you're here, and I mean that's that message right there.
That might be
Another
a blessing.
scar. Yeah.
I mean, there's things I don't want to remember. I'm just saying.
What did you actually say? I've actually experienced death. Yeah, I experienced death twice.
Yeah.
I died
Yeah.
twice in that process. So
You had a lot of
I
help.
actually, I can bear witness that there actually is a heaven. So I've seen it.
Nice.
Wow.
I want to hear that story sometime.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that. I mean, we've been told that there's a place prepared for us. John 14:1, I go to prepare a place for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go, I'll come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you can be also. And then it also talks about it in Revelation. And we're going through that on Wednesday nights right now at church. And it's just amazing, the plans that he has for us. So The ones who love him, the ones who trust him. So there's some things we know that are God's will for everyone. One of them is that we give him the glory. Another one is to bring more people to believe in him. Some are called to be president. Some are called to be a voice of truth. Some are called to govern, to judge, to raise children, to preach, to drive, to run, to hunt, whatever you do, to have a podcast. So we have to do everything with faith in God's plan. And that's what we've been talking about, amazingly enough. Hebrews 11:6 has a lot to say about faith. But without faith, it is impossible to please God. He that comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And so we need to say no to fear, because fear and faith can't dwell in the same place. All right. So
I heard recently, I might have mentioned it on here before, but I thought it was a really cool perspective, that faith and fear are actually the exact same thing on different sides.
mm-hmm.
So in fear, you fear what hasn't happened yet. And in faith, you trust what hasn't happened yet.
Exactly.
So you have to choose between the two. And I just thought that was a really cool analogy.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
And I've thought about it here, just listening to you to bring those points. Is like, I think sometimes faith is taking on the fear and then being brave enough to face it, knowing that God is with you through it.
Right.
Good picture. I like that.
Daniel in
good
the
description.
lion's den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadrach, Meshach, and
They
Abednego.
they were afraid. Absolutely. If you're standing face to face with a lion, I'm pretty sure you're afraid
Mm-hmm.
That's
for that moment.
if you guys want to go back to the episode, Trace Friends or, Three Friends. I can't say the actual name of the episode because apparently there's this whole thing about copyright and the name of it. But if you understand
Cryptic messaging.
you can go back and find that episode. It is still happens to be on YouTube, regardless of the copyright of the title of it. But there was a message there about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and them having enough faith, and I'm sure that they were scared. I mean, they're getting tossed in a fire.
Absolutely.
But being able to face that fear and walk right in there because they knew that God would be with them.
They said, yeah, God can deliver us, but even if not, we're still going to do what's right.
Yep.
And that is true faith. I did get a little sidetracked on that point. He said fight, fight, fight. And so I was thinking about that as well, that this is not a game. It's a battle. And Ephesians 6 tells us a little bit about this. We need to have on the whole armor of God. And we also need that spirit, that raw courage that comes with faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so the shield of faith will quench the fiery darts of the devil, of doubt and fear. The shield of faith. The sword of the Spirit, God's word. And we have the helmet of salvation to protect your mind. The breastplate of righteousness to protect your heart. The belt of truth, that holds your whole outfit together. Got to have the truth. And then the shoes of peace. And that's a reminder that we should be at peace with all men as much as possible.
And hopefully you don't lose the shoes.
Right, don't lose the shoes.
Let me get my shoes.
Wait, I got to get my shoes. Get my peace on me.
Well, you got to imagine, this is probably some pretty expensive Italian leather shoes. You know.
Sorry.
There's a few $1,000s just flopping around off of his feet. He's probably ready to go grab those. Those are part of his kid's inheritance now.
The shoes of peace.
The legendary shoes.
Where do you go from there? Did I just blow up the whole thing? Sorry.
We lost. Thanks, Crystal.
Sorry. I'm having the visual. He had the armor of God on and he lost lost
right,
his
the
shoes.
shoes, right? Temporarily.
So
but
the
he
lesson
wanted them
is
back.
don't lose your shoes a piece.
Don't lose your shoes. Don't lose your cool. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All
Oops.
running around barefoot.
That's why I'm wearing boots, because I need a little extra to remind me to stay peaceful.
Oh, it's too funny.
That's why
Oh my
girls like
God.
shoes so much.
Is that why?
Yeah, that's my story.
That's your story, and you're
Sticking
sticking it to it.
It doesn't make Laura any less angry when she's got a new pair of shoes. I'll tell you that.
Oh my goodness.
She doesn't watch. She doesn't. I
She
have.
doesn't wear shoes. What?
Oh, it said that doesn't bring her anger down any much when she's got a new pair of shoes. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
She's got to get the right shoes.
Oh,
Shoes a
consistently.
piece. Okay, so it's a battle, and again, we're supposed to fight, and sometimes we can fight with humor, right?
Exactly.
And you know, and if you've ever seen a picture of a battlefield and everyone's fighting, and there's that one guy standing there, and he looks like a lost puppy because he has his armor on, but his sword's down at his side, and he's not fighting.
It might be because he lost his shoes. Sorry.
Oh, Crystal, you're killing me, girl.
That might be Joseph Robinette Biden. What happened to my shoes? Sir, they're on your feet. I don't
I don't feel him.
they're not there. Where are my shoes?
Where am I? What am I doing? Okay. Poor guy. Yeah, he needs a.
Sorry.
Oh my
I just
goodness.
can't help it. I'm sorry.
He needs divine intervention. Oh my goodness. So anyway, this guy's not fighting, but we need to take action. You know, we can't just stand out there in the battlefield with our armor on and not take any action.
Right.
It won't do any good at all. So don't be like that. We need to keep fighting the battle, not just for America, but as Christians as well. And that's my point.
Love it.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And boy, are we going to have memories to talk about after the show. My eyes are leaking. I'm like laughing so hard. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate you, Crystal. You keep it entertaining.
If y'all can't tell, these two are friends.
If you're ever nervous, you know, it helps to laugh.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was a serious moment. And it was it was, but I think it was good. I think it brought people together, and it caused him to want to say that too more clearly. I mean, he's always kind of said, I want to be, I want to help everybody. I want to help the economy. That's going to help everybody. Mm-hmm. And he said success was the best revenge, and, but then after he got shot at, he said, I want us to be united. He said that word. And he said, I want to be the president of all Americans, not just half of America.
Yeah.
And so he made it very clear.
Grandpa Joe said the same thing, but it didn't happen.
No, Joe. Oh. Yeah. Well, put actions to your words, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and guess who is the author of Dissension and Division?
The devil. The author of confusion.
Also known as Kamala Harris. I mean, excuse me. Freudian slip there.
Uh-oh. Look, was priceless.
Did he transition?
Well, I mean, that is an act of the devil, I say.
Yeah.
I think we got Macho Man Randy Savage out there in the audience. Back from the grave.
Yeah, we're back from the grave. I didn't fear anything. I went up against the best, and I beat the best. Ooh, yeah. So I'm gonna
I don't know if he's coming through on.
my Slim Jim.
Yeah. He's off over there in the audience. I didn't know the Macho Man's ghost was going to visit tonight, but I'm sure he's the cream of the crop. That's the best I got. I can't quite do it as well as the impersonator here.
Oh.
Can't win them all.
That's
Can't win them all.
pitiful.
Where are we at on time, guys?
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Left or what?
At 20 minutes until we're 20 minutes in, or 20 minutes left.
20 minutes still politics.
Okay, cool. Well,
So do we have any more family stories about faith or fear or all those things or fighting?
Yeah.
well, Mike, I was gonna touch back on the fighting thing because I think something it's a little heavier of a subject for a lot of people, but something I've always struggled with has been allowing myself to get into a depressed state. And it can get to a point where you start listening to the ungodly things, the ungodly influences that will push you so far along that dark train that you feel like you just can't win, that everything is just against you, that you'll tell yourself that you're worthless, that you're not helping anybody, that you're not doing anybody any good.
Which are all lies, by the way.
All lies. Absolutely. But when you start allowing that, when you open that little bitty bit of a door, just that little bit, that's all it takes, is that little creak in of a
If you're
little crack in the
afraid,
door.
if you're afraid and you lose your faith, and then you start to look around and see, that's what happens. He gets his foot in the door.
All he needs is that little crack in the door, and you will spiral so quick. And it's like being covered in a thick mud. It cloaks on top of you, and to see the light on the other side of it is, in that moment or in those moments, can feel next to impossible to come out of.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like, sometimes even physically too, but metaphorically speaking, you put your arm in the air because you're praying and you're trying to come out of it, and you're fully intentional with your prayer, and for some reason you still feel like you're not being heard. And that's because if I'm reading it correctly, that's because we're not putting enough faith in him that he's going to pull us out.
You have to trust him. And it's the same thing with salvation. I mean, I struggle with that. I knew all the things. You have to do this and this and this, and he did this so you can go to heaven. I knew that, but I didn't trust him. And so when I trusted him, that changed everything. And so when we're doing that, we have to have that faith. And how do we get faith? By being in God's word. I think we overcome, the Bible even says in Revelation, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can hear good testimony, or if we can get into the scripture, and, I think worship, God inhabits praise. So the closer we can get to those things, I think those will help our faith. And
When you're in those modes, though, and at least I felt this way, reading the Bible didn't help me. It almost was a fog over it, if that makes any sense.
I understand what you're saying, Crystal, but in those moments, like I've had as well, I don't specifically go to, like, normally I'll read through, like I'm reading through the Bible right now. I'm in Ezekiel, so I just read the next chapter, the next chapter, the next chapter. But when I'm in those moments, I'm asking God, what do you want me to see? And I'm flipping open my Bible.
Yeah.
And I'm flipping through my Bible. And and then I'm like, oh, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he brings me to those places that I need to read that are going to give me the encouragement that I need.
I feel like I needed to
or the
finish
correction that I need, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think I need to finish that thought, though.
Okay.
I've been in some really bad places.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like suicidal thoughts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Reading wasn't working for me. But let me tell you what did. Dropping to my knees and crying out to him. because it's a form of submission. It's a form of, I can't do this. Please take the wheel. Take me and use me. I submit to you. I got nothing.
I surrender. Yeah.
Yes. And that has worked for me. If I'm not in that dark place, but I'm starting to feel worthless, valueless, whatever, I think one of the best solutions for that too, not just reading, but also you have to get yourself out of your own head and out of your own self by doing something for somebody else. And I told my friend, because I had to do this myself. I learned it the hard way, right? But I was telling my friend that, I said, you live by a strip mall of shops. I guarantee if you go to that strip mall and you look, there's going to be an old lady that could use help putting her groceries in her car. There's going to be somebody on a walker that could use help walking. There's going to be somebody that can't reach something on a shelf. Little things like that, if you look for them, you'll find them. And that's one of the best ways to get out of your own self and into others and caring about others. And at the end of the day, you go home and you're like, I feel valuable. I was able to accomplish something. I helped people. And it gives you a whole different perspective.
It's something that we're told to do.
Yeah.
We're supposed to love others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to sum up what you said there is allowing ourselves in those moments to be humble enough to know that it's not about us and it's about him and it's about God. It's about Jesus being in our hearts and being able to view the world through his lens and what he wants us to do. One of those things being helping others. And I think an additional tool to pulling ourselves out of the mud, because it's not us pulling ourselves out of the mud. It's us having the faith and being humble enough. Because I think to add just a little bit to that, I think sometimes we're so in the mud that temporarily our eyes has gotten the scales, and that's why reading doesn't really work during those moments.
It's like a fog.
Yeah.
Like you try to read, you want to read, but nothing is coming through.
But another help is getting yourself, even if you're not a social person, get in with a small group at church, or just find yourself one good friend that you can turn to. Somebody you can talk to, whether friend or family. As the Tough Men of Faith podcast puts it, battle buddy. I like that term. But for me, a lot of times, obviously I'm going to go to my wife for a lot of things, but sometimes I'll pick up the phone. I'm going to call Sterling. I'm going to say, hey buddy, I need your help. And him and I have been that for each other a lot the past few years. And the same goes for Alan. And yeah, we all lean on each other. And I've had phone calls with you too, Crystal, where I need to lean on somebody and through those tougher times, it's what's pulled me back out. Because God is then working through your battle buddy, and
the power of their testimony to you, then that's an encouragement.
Yeah.
And it helps you to find your faith again. So
I tell you, in those times, I really want to channel my mom mode, for lack of a better word. But I end up being somebody who just wants to let somebody talk. Like I really don't say a lot. I don't try to say a lot. Sometimes just people need somebody to listen.
100%.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you speak something out loud, you work through it naturally on your own.
True.
You
so
hear
true.
yourself say it and you're like, wait a minute, why am I saying that? That's not sounding right.
Wait a minute, that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
You'll spank yourself, in other words. You don't need me to spank you. You'll spank yourself eventually.
Now, wait a second. What does the Bible? Okay, that's not it.
What is it? Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
Wish I'd have thought of that. As a forehead slap for those listening on audio.
Right.
Did it come through on the microphone there, Sterling? Was it clear and crisp? He'd give me the
He's
thumbs
like
up.
100%.
I know our audio listeners will have picked that up.
Sterling's probably over there going, that was so loud.
He regularly tells us, my ears, my precious ears, because that man can hear everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And you don't-
Yeah, he's blessed with good hearing. I guess that's good for a sound person, right?
And hearing comes from the word of God.
Okay.
Faith comes by hearing, and
That
hearing
was
comes
deep.
from the word of God.
That was deep.
See how we bring that all back around?
Bring it
I
around.
guess that explains why I'm
Circle
partially
back.
deaf. that got a little laugh
Little
out of Sterling.
reaction
Yeah,
out of
little
him.
laugh over there. You guys didn't hear it on audio, but he did one of those little.
Oh my goodness.
He's trying not to laugh. He's trying, but hey, if it comes through on audio, it's all good, man. Yeah, I think that we can probably take things over into a new segment that we're going to start tonight. So normally in politics portion, we bring you 3 articles, and we discuss those articles a little bit. But this week we're gonna do a segment. We're gonna do a segment, and that's gonna take up our politics portion, because we have a researcher and a really good one at that. Did he want me to say his name?
Sure. Yes, no problem.
Rich Rosati, our good friend Rich Rosati. He is the guy. He's
He's
Chris's
my guy. I got a guy.
And he's pulled together all of our references. All of our references will be available in the description below. So make sure that you're going and clicking on if you want to verify the information that is going to be given to you. But in this segment, we're going to call it. What are we calling it? What is the name that I gave it? Sterling, you mind? Clueless Kamala.
Hello.
I want to talk.
Wow.
I think I just snorted. I don't do that.
What do you think about the old Clueless Kamala overlay there, James?
I don't know. I'm clueless on that one. Yeah, that's.
Was it scary?
I don't know who has the higher IQ, her or Biden. I have no idea.
The higher IQ.
Yes,
Wow.
Comment if you know.
Please do.
one might be half a point higher than the other, maybe. If there's such a thing as a half a point in the IQ test.
Let's put it this way: if they each had half a brain together, they'd still only have half a brain.
I don't know about that
Maybe not quite half.
because probably half of those halves are dead.
Although they are in the positions they're in, and none of us are. So there's that.
Yeah.
There are reasons for
But
that.
To quote,
Things
yeah,
that we
we'll-
wouldn't do.
And we'll get into that.
Are we
here,
going to follow that rabbit?
No,
okay.
we're not.
here in just a second. We're going to have overlays. So you guys are going to actually view this information as we're going through it, as we're uncovering it. But Kamala, to quote her, she says, "There is a time for such a time as this. This is now the time that we're in, and that is the time that we're experiencing." Time.
It's like Yoda.
Time.
That's like Yoda words. Straight
No.
from Yoda.
Not
So-
like Yoda.
Yeah, we
Yoda made
understand
sense.
So
Yoda.
wise, right?
That may not be an exact quote, but it's not far off.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Trust me, it's not far off.
Yeah, we understand Yoda.
Yeah.
That's why we call it word salad. It is sort of in the same. To be fair, it does sort of
like
sound.
chopped salad.
She
it's
throws a
called word
tomato
salad,
here
yeah.
and a cucumber there, and
Experiencing time you are.
she's got a salad spinner.
Oh my goodness. So those are the As Seen on TV products. Let's go ahead and go to slide 1 before we get too far off the rails here. So if you're viewing along with us, if you're on audio, you're just going to have to hear me read, and then if you want to see our slides, obviously go back over to video. You're going to see the slides on overlays. Kamala Harris's record. She's been vice president from 2021 to current. She decided to meet with her sorority Zeta Phi Beta in Indianapolis, Indiana, the same day that a government dignitary from Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu, came to meet with Congress. As Senate President, as part of her responsibilities, is to stand side by side with the Speaker of the House during these visits. She did not. You're more than welcome to comment on that before I go to the next point here.
They had a picture on that of that, the difference between the visit from Ukraine's president and with Benjamin Netanyahu. With Ukraine, she was obviously there with the Ukraine flag behind them.
Of course.
And then for Netanyahu, of course, there was an empty chair and no flag. So that speaks volumes about who she supports and who she really feels like our friends are.
We have no accountability for where the money to Ukraine's going, so who knows if she's getting kickbacks from that. She wouldn't get any from Netanyahu.
You know Biden is, but I don't know about Harris as far as that goes.
Yeah, the big guy. They're definitely
She might be the big girl.
More ways than one, maybe. But they definitely. We're going to come up with receipts on it. We're going to find it, but I'm going to almost say with a certainty, allegedly, obviously I have to put on that, but that they're laundering money through Ukraine. I think that that's what they're doing with our tax dollars. If you think I'm wrong, you can comment below. But I really, really believe that they're laundering our tax dollars through Ukraine, and that's the whole reason they're giving so much money. Because if we're being honest, Russia's probably winning that current war.
Wasn't it like $82 million she raised in like one night or overnight?
That was actually through Act Blue. So that's another money laundering scheme that the Democrats have, and we can touch base on that probably on Crystal's show and get a little more in depth on these points on her show.
Yeah, have that written in my notes for the next one.
Yeah, so be ready because she's going to give it to you. You're going to bring the receipts, right, Crystal? Mm-hmm. But you can find these first few points on the roles of U.S. Vice President on polyas.com. I think that's how it's enunciated. It's spelled POLYAS.com. But she was supposed to be the representative at these events, and Vice President may also meet with other heads of state at times when the administration wishes to demonstrate concern or support, but cannot send the president personally. Obviously, Biden's supposedly been sick. He's had a lot of things that have, made him stay sequestered, supposedly, allegedly, and even released a letter stating that he has pulled out of the presidential race, and then half an hour later, then endorsed on an X post, formerly Twitter, endorsing Kamala. But I don't know why that wouldn't be in his step down letter. So a lot of fishy things there.
Well, and why he's delegated his authorities to other agencies already.
And why did he do a letter and not make an address to people in person? Why did he do a letter on X?
I'm confident he didn't write it.
I mean, that would be
confident.
Who? Yeah,
Don't even know if he knew it happened.
Right.
I'll just say it that way.
Yeah, and
he's clueless
on Rumble.
Clueless.
He's very clueless.
He's very clueless. Just clueless as Kamala. Clueless Kamala.
They're quite the pair.
But Crystal and I did a live on Rumble. So if you haven't seen it, go over and watch that live on Rumble. We were going through all the things that we can't say on YouTube, and we'll probably do another one here soon enough for you guys, because there's a lot more freedom on Rumble. So if you aren't already subscribed to us on Revolver Broadcasting on Rumble, go over there and subscribe to it, because we plan to bring you a lot of content that you just can't get on YouTube. Yeah, it's uncensored, completely uncensored and unfettered. I'm sure you'd like to join us on a few of those, huh James?
He holds back so bad, I can tell during these sessions.
So that'll be a place that you can speak a little more and a little more freely. Or not a little more freely, a lot more freely.
Don't be afraid. There you go. Fear not, right?
But she stated during the Indy visit with her sorority on I need to fix that typo actually. July 24th of this year, or was it 22nd or 24th? When she would sign into law the reverse of Roe v. Wade ruling to make abortion legal. So she wants to overturn that again using executive power. That doesn't sound like a dictator at all, does it?
Right?
When the Supreme Court has already called it unconstitutional.
This is making me so infuriated. They keep referring to Trump as a dictator. He's going to be a dictator and blah, blah, blah. But yet, take the loan forgiveness, for example. How many ways can they come up with to bypass the fact that the Supreme Court said they do not have the power to do it? And the problem is, here's the trick they're playing. They know this. In order for them to be stopped, it does have to make it to the Supreme Court again and again and again, which means it has to be sued for and go through all the proper court channels and appeals courts and all that stuff before it makes it up there, right?
Right.
So they just keep
I think there would be a
bypassing
limit.
everything.
Is there not a limit on that legally?
no.
Hmm.
And they keep bypassing stuff through executive orders that they don't have the powers to do. I don't know how many things now they've done.
It's the Department of Justice too, because if they were doing their job properly, then if somebody's breaking the law, then they would be held accountable.
You know,
Speaking of breaking the law, let's not forget in our next point on there that Kamala Harris was dubbed the border czar. Don't forget it.
yes.
Sear it in your mind.
Yeah.
Think about all the illegals that are coming over the border. There's no contact with border chiefs. Record number of illegal immigrants in the last 4 years. Hands down, record numbers. You can find that on homeland.house.gov. Encounters at the southwest border in the 2023 calendar year increased over 40% since 2021. 4% to 2022 and more than 100% compared to 2019. More than 100%. Remember that. Last month, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported a 40% increase compared to September 2021 and 18% compared to September 2022. Since President Biden took office, there have been 7.5 million encounters nationwide and 6.2 million encounters at the southwest border, in addition to 1.7 million known gotaways. Now, you got to remember that those encounters are underreported because they've been told to stand down. The only reason they're seeing encounters is because Border Patrol has been not listening to the president and doing it anyway and actually getting these encounters because he's told them to stand down.
Right.
The administration has told them to stand down.
And with the known getaways, you also have to acknowledge the fact
Factor that in.
that's known.
Yeah, that's just what's
They're
known.
gotaways that are not known because they never caught them or knew
Or got
about
them on camera or
Right.
whatever. Yeah,
So that number's way underestimated, I would suspect.
certainly underestimated. Next point. In 2023, 169 individuals whose names appear on the terrorist watch list were stopped trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border. Between ports of entry, 18 were apprehended in September alone. 18 of 169. That's a lot. So far, but there's still a whole lot more that are still out there, right? So far in 2020, from the 2023 calendar year, CBP has arrested 35,433 illegal aliens with criminal convictions or outstanding warrants nationwide, including 598 known gang members. 178 of those being MS-13 members. MS-13 coming from El Salvador, I believe, and they've been known to be one of the most violent gangs in the world.
They're vicious.
And also in 2023, CBP, including air and marine operations, have seized 27,293 pounds, not ounces, not grams, not those pounds of fentanyl coming across the southwest border, enough to kill more than 6 billion people. Man, that alone, if you're still going to vote for Kamala after hearing that, to quote Chris Tucker, man, what's wrong with you? Because I just don't see how you can hear those numbers and be okay with voting for this person. Now, maybe you don't like Donald Trump. Okay, maybe you don't like his the prickliness, because he's a rough around the edges. But do you remember how nice it was underneath him? Do you remember when he was our representative of our nation?
Gas was low. The economy was doing well.
And you cannot blame that on COVID. Everybody's like, oh, well, he was in charge before COVID hit. That's why it was so good then. Biden inherited the COVID economy. That's totally not true.
Absolutely not true.
Totally not true.
And we're going to touch on some of those numbers here in just a minute. You're going to see.
I was going to say they have the numbers on that, and that's not accurate.
We got some numbers
but
here.
That's what they keep claiming.
We got some charts to show you. Okay.
Charts.
Some charts.
Might save your life. You never know.
As we finish our final points on this first slide here, the foreign policy underneath.
No fear.
Biden-Harris. Harris supported campus protests for Gaza. And as we know here, most recently in D.C. and a few other places, there have been some protests that have not been turned out very pretty. Mm-hmm. Not only flags being burned or torn down, but things that have meant a lot to a lot of people in this country. A lot of our monuments just completely defaced and destroyed.
And I'm going to add something. Because it's not just, first of all, they keep saying Palestinian. There's no country of Palestine, so stop saying it. But it's not just about the support for Gaza. What they spray painted on the statue was Hamas is coming. Hamas is the terrorist group.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not just supporting Gaza. Don't let them fool you. This is support of terrorism. And the kid that took the flag down was not a person of color in any way, shape, or form.
Tells you he was likely Antifa member, because most Antifa members happen to be of the Caucasian persuasion.
Yeah, but he was also
Strangely.
around college age.
That shows that they're paid actors, right?
Well, or indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated, yeah, through college. But a lot of times George Soros just throws money out there. I'm just going to say it.
Yep.
But Kamala went to Europe to deter Russian invasion of Ukraine. War happened days later. Yep. She attended the Munich Security Conference in February of 18th to the 20th in 2022, just days before Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
And they're saying she's good at foreign policy?
Clueless. Some might even call her Clueless Kamala, Clueless Kamala.
Or else it's intentional.
Yeah. But we'll move on over to slide 2, because this is going to get us into the money, the economy here. Student debt. This is what you was talking about, Crystal. They advocated for student debt forgiveness, costing $16 billion.
So far.
Who's paying for that? Who do you think's paying for that? $16 billion.
We are.
The regular taxpayer, the regular guy, the guy and the gal working as single parents at the Taco Bell.
Let's talk
That's who's
about
paying for it.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think it's a misnomer to say we're paying for it, because it looks like the taxes we're paying now are paying for it. That we are going to be charged for it. Is going to catch up. And that's what people need to understand. The wheels of justice turn slowly. And when they do something today, we're not going to see it for a year to 2 years down the road. So these young kids that think, oh, we're doing fine, the economy's great, or people that just don't pay attention. I see it every single election time in the Nextdoor app, people complaining about their property taxes going up. Well, guess what? That's because there was a school referendum on there and you didn't vote. Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It takes
By the way, we're looking at that.
yeah.
But I mean, we're looking at eliminating property tax for 65 and older.
Right. I would love that. But the fact is, people
Those
don't
are Indiana
understand-
politics for
That's
those.
Indiana. Right.
Just for
People
those
Sorry,
do
let me
not
disclaimer.
understand that what they're doing today isn't affecting us right now. It's going to affect us a year to two down the road. That's when we're
True.
going to see the aspect from it. They're counting on short memory,
Yeah.
us forgetting.
But eventually the bill comes due. And
Yes,
who pays it? Like I said,
we do.
it's the single parent working at
That's right.
the local Taco Bell, the young man, young lady that you happen to see
Yep.
there working,
The librarian,
that
Mhm.
your local,
the
whoever's
bus driver,
Your
Yeah.
Walmart people,
The-
whoever it is.
everyday
trash
person,
truck driver.
anybody that's making less than $400,000, ironically. I wonder if that just so happens to be
It's me.
That's the
Single
amount the
parent makes less than
president gets
$400,000.
paid.
$400,000, just so happens to be the president's
Salary.
So I wonder.
So
Why
if
that was
Trump
decided on.
donates his salary again, would it apply to him?
Well, he has to accept at least $1.
Oh yeah.
He did.
So-
He did. Yeah, he
Yep.
accepted $1 and donated the rest.
But speaking
Crazy.
of money, let's just keep going back into it, because we have in June of 2022 showing the inflation rate rose to 7% since November of 1981.
The highest since.
It's highest since 1981. The year that the U.S. Bureau of Statistics gave us this chart here, showing bread from January of 2017 through January of 2025. That's the price of bread. Does that affect your household at all? The price of bread going?
What's the
okay.
prices, Joshua?
Just under $1.50, somewhere between $1 and $1.50, all the way up, going up at $2. I mean, that little bit every single time you go to the grocery store, every single time, that adds up really, really quickly.
And honestly, they said the most expensive vehicle to drive right now is your shopping cart, because overall groceries, I think, have doubled
In
For
some
most-
cases quadrupled.
for most people.
And then if we go to the next slide here, we go into an energy source. Electricity is a kilowatt hours, a charge per kilowatt hour. So so about 13 cents per kilowatt hour, up to just shy of 16 cents per kilowatt hour. 18. Yeah. Chart's a little blurry on my iPad here, so forgive me. Lights in my eyes and that kind of thing. But thank you for the correction, Sterling. I appreciate it. That's why he's my brother from another mother.
Perfect producer.
He's the perfect producer. But yeah, this chart starts in January of 2017 and ends in the projection of going through January of 2025. This is where it's probably going to be higher than that. Let's be honest. And then we would go to and electricity certainly affects all of us. Going back into the groceries, we had eggs. Man, what a wild ride eggs have been on in prices. Starting in January 2017, coming in somewhere around $1.50 a dozen. I'm assuming here.
Sounds about right.
That's about where people usually purchase their eggs, about a dozen. But then going into January of 23, almost $5.
I remember that.
I do too.
In January of this year, it did come back down significantly, but not nearly as close to where we were. At just under $3.
Okay, so the games they play with that, they say, "Oh, it went down $2," but we forget, like you said, for the
It was
long
up
term,
$5.
with a long-term memory, right? It
Right.
was $1.50 and now it's $3. So it's not really down.
Right. Right. They're doing the same thing with employment numbers.
And everybody's favorite topic during the Trump administration, gasoline. January 2017, we were at just a little over $2 a gallon in January 2017. So, but it was during the best time during Trump's administration, $1.87 was where it was at, just a year prior. Okay, even during the people try to say, oh, it was always during COVID and there weren't as many people on the road. Well, those people don't understand supply and demand.
Right.
The more demand there is, the lower the price, because there's more people purchasing, and just like, let's say you're selling T-shirts. Let's just make it easy on you. You're selling T-shirts, and you sell 2 T-shirts. Well, how much profit margin are you going to get off those 2 T-shirts? Not much, and you have to sell them for a significant price in order to get that return. But if you sell a lot of them,
Thousands.
now you can start lowering the price for the purchaser, because you're going to have enough profit margin, enough there to say, okay, I don't have to charge you
Enough
as
cash
much.
on hand.
Yeah, because you can then churn it back into the business. You know it's going to keep coming. So less people on the road would mean higher prices. That's what it should mean, but it
Right.
didn't.
Right.
It was $1.87. Okay.
And now it's not $1.87 anymore.
As a matter of fact, in January 2022, it was just over $5 a gallon. Just over $5. Now they don't let you remember that though, because they say, oh, it's back down, and it's at about $3.50, $4, somewhere in there. Don't forget, do not forget that they let it go over $5. That's a big difference from $1.87, Jim.
I think the last time it happened too, because who was in office?
Yep. You've hit the nail on the head right there. It's almost like it's a repeat of before Trump, right? It's almost like Obama was.
It's almost like the same administration.
Yeah.
Or the same party is responsible for
The
it.
same party.
Well, I think where we're going with it, and I'm going to say it real obvious for everybody out there, it's almost like Biden was just a puppet and Obama was working the marionette. Just saying. Almost. Go back into grocery slide here. Ground beef. Now, a lot of you out there, if you're like me, you like your red meat, you like your ground beef. January 2017, we were looking at somewhere between $3 and $4. But January of this year, between $5 and $6 looks like.
It was over $6 at the grocery for me for 1 pound.
So and just this far into the year, it's already
Kroger.
even higher.
Yep.
Oh, it's like $7, I think, a pound. $6.99.
Yeah.
$7.
Yeah.
Don't forget that even your food has gone up so much. And these are just people don't think about these items going into their grocery cart because they get them all the time. We're going to have hamburgers for dinner this week. We're going to have hamburger helper. We're going to have what do you call it with the sauce in it?
Manwich.
Manwich. Yeah, that's it. We're going to have some manwich. We're going to have meatloaf.
Better switch to Spam.
We're
going back
There's a
to
lot of
canned
things you can do
meat.
with spam. A lot of things.
We're going back to canned meat.
You get to the checkout and you get sticker shock is what you get. Like what?
We got another slide for you here shortly. I'm sure that we're getting things worked out over there. The next slide we're going to show you is natural gas. Natural gas. Got to heat your home, right? And for the majority of people in America, I would say we're heating our homes and our furnaces through natural gas. Maybe you're heating your water that way as well. It's used a lot, but I don't know what per unit this chart is referencing to. So it's not. I'm going from memory here, so we're going to say it shows a dollar in January 2017. So I'm guessing that's per hour usage, probably. Not quite 100% sure.
Dad's checking.
And my dad is currently looking that up. He's over there in the audience because they never turn the cameras around. They're fake news.
I mean, Macho Man's over there checking for you.
Yeah, the ghost of Macho Man. But it got as high as $1.60.
Also known as AKA. There you go.
Yeah.
Per hour of usage.
Yeah. $1.80.
$1.80 per hour of usage, and then of course they brought it down just a little bit to try to show that they brought it down
per cubic feet as well.
Okay, that could be, yeah. Because your home being warmed by per cubic foot. That's true. So if you got a large home, got more than 3 bedrooms, you're paying through the nose for sure. I find
it interesting.
They brought it down to just $1.40. So not much, not down by much.
I just find it interesting that there is a pattern here with the charts where they go up and they spike, and then they go down. This year a little bit in an election year. Isn't that strange?
It's almost like it's controlled.
Almost.
And not by the market.
Yeah, it's almost as if an administration has their hands in it.
Yeah. And that would apply to the former administration, too, with the numbers that we're seeing.
Yeah. The numbers were much lower during Trump's administration.
Yep. And if it's true that an administration can have their hands in it, which one do you want?
Wouldn't you think that things would be higher because people were home more?
You would think, right?
You would think that.
Would think. But they weren't. They weren't. They just weren't. And we'll show this.
Who was it that said never let a crisis go to waste?
That was Barack Obama.
Exactly.
There's a couple other charts here. We're going to actually kind of slide through them real quick. We got milk. Buying it at a gallon, January 2017, about $3.25 a gallon in January 2017, and now we're hovering around the $4 mark, kind of up and over and under, around that $4 mark now, and in this year, and probably went up since then. That was January of this year, but I'm sure that it's gone up further.
But there's that downward curve again.
Yep, that up and down.
Right there at the end.
Let's talk about mortgage for a second. This is our next slide. For those of you who own a home, you are paying a mortgage. And in October of 2023, mortgage rates peak at 7.49%. That's
2024.
Really high.
But as of October 2023, that's where they had peaked. That's significant. In
23.
Yeah, October 23. That's where they. Yep.
2023 is 6.81.
So we this chart that was where it peaked out later on. These are in January numbers that we have on the chart. So in 2017, we're at 3.99%. So under 4%, and that's when I bought my home in 2014. I was well under 4%. Okay. Mm-hmm. In 2018, 4.5%. 2019, 3.94%. So almost 4%. So it come down just a little bit. But then 2020, 3.10%.
During COVID.
Yeah.
When everybody was home.
Why did it come down during that, I wonder? and it was at 2.96 in 2021. But 2022, after a year of having Biden and Harris in office, 5.43% in January of 2022. January of 2023, 6.81%, peaking out at 7.49%, which carried over into January of 2024 at that same rate, 7.5%. Seems like it was better under Trump. Just saying.
And I heard that they said that's actually came down a smidge. Like in the 6s again, I think.
Yeah.
Just below 7.
Yeah.
Woo,
That-
right?
that curve.
Again, it's just so we can, during the election year, claim that we did a bang-up
That
job.
the prices went down.
Yeah.
Got one last slide for you guys because I know that we're probably getting tight on time at this point. Haven't got the nod from Sterling, but I'm sure that we're tight on time. So we're going to go to that next slide there, Sterling. This is our final slide. During her time as U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris, from 2017 to 2021, was rated as the second most progressive, with Bernie Sanders being the most progressive. Wow.
I heard today.
I
or
heard she was
yesterday-
more progressive than Bernie Sanders.
There's an article out that particular news organization had rated her the most progressive, but are now trying to memory hole it. So we'll make sure
Yes,
and we'll find that
because
and talk
they're
about it.
saying she's fourth now.
Yeah.
The fourth most progressive. They changed their numbers. Yes.
So we'll go back and we'll find those receipts and make sure you're watching the agenda with crystalrisotti so that you can see that more in depth. But policing, she supported Minnesota Freedom Fund that bailed out criminals that murdered,
burned down federal buildings, stormed federal buildings.
well, criminals after she got them out, murdered.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, why did you? Okay.
No
Anyway.
accountability.
None. On climate, she supported the Green New Deal, $10 trillion.
And that was the initial Green New Deal.
Yeah.
The really, really restrictive one, the really bad one that they first came out with.
Where they could try to walk into your home and take your gas stove, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Come and take it. Come and take it. Cold dead hands. That's all I'm saying. On the border, she supported health care for illegal immigrants. When asked if she supported providing universal health care to illegal immigrants, she stated in a CNN interview on May 12, 2019, that she is opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, education, or health, period.
And that's catching up to us now while they're talking about the Social Security being wiped out and Medicaid and Medicare being wiped out because they're providing that to the illegal aliens here.
Yes. And giving a lot of financial support to them as well, which is taking away from those who truly need the assistance, the cash assistance and the welfare to get through to wherever they need to be in their next step in life or getting back into the workforce and things.
Right. Well, with the economy, and there's more Americans that are struggling, but they're not the priority.
Let's dive just a little further into her record here, because during her time as Attorney General of California from 2011 to 2017, she supported Proposition 47. If you stole anything under $950, you were charged with only a misdemeanor. Can you believe that, James?
Smack on the wrist.
That's all you got. Just let back out on the street, right?
Is that California?
Yes. So she was Attorney General of California. Yep.
They have signs in California in front of their stores that say how much you can steal without any consequence.
$900, if I remember correctly.
I saw that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's right here. It says that it was if you steal under $950, you're charged with only a misdemeanor. If you're caught. So that's why they do these organized shoplifting sprees. So shoplifting, the proposition added section 459.5 to create a new misdemeanor offense called in quotes, shoplifting, punishable by up to 6 months in county jail. Shoplifting is defined as entering a commercial establishment with intent to commit larceny while that establishment is open during regular business hours, where the value of the property does not exceed $950. She declined the death penalty against a man who had killed San Francisco police officer Isaac Espinoza. It was AK-47 cop killers, and those normally get a life sentence. The case quickly caused friction between prosecutors and rank-and-file officers when DA Kamala Harris, an opponent of capital punishment, announced within days of Hill's arrest that she would not seek the death penalty. Mm-hmm.
That was a big story.
All of our references, once again, will be available in the description below.
So she's running on her record. And that is her record. And then you need to do comparison with the Trump record, the Trump administration.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
What do we know about icebergs? James, what do we know about icebergs? If you just get the top, only the tops
10%
is on the top of the water, right?
10%.
So the other 90% is
Hidden.
under the water.
Hidden.
They're trying to memory hole the other 90%. They're trying to get rid of it. They're trying to hide.
I mean, she did run some years ago, and she said she dropped out because she wasn't a billionaire. She couldn't afford to run.
Yeah. It wasn't because she had less than 4% of the vote, 3.8%, I believe it was. People don't like her. Now all of a sudden they like her because mainstream media tells them to. It's like, how far?
The party does.
Yeah, well, how far are you brainwashed? How far are you going to allow them to tell you what to think?
I got whiplash from that change.
It was almost like
It's true.
and we shared the meme during our live, Crystal. It was like that scene in Indiana Jones where he swaps out the idol for a bag of sand, I think it was. Yeah. Switching out Kamala for
fast.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
That's a Star Wars reference. A little different from Indiana Jones, but still
It's another
Lucasfilm. Yeah.
It's another good one. Just a little fun fact. If you go to X, formerly Twitter, and you look at her account, she posted a picture of her statement about the protests. I'm going to call them riots because let's call them what they are, during Netanyahu's speech. And she condemned it, right?
Air quotes.
Yeah, air quotes. And what's so funny is go look at the comments, because now her leftist fans are hating on her because she's condemning what they want to happen and what she's represented all this time. So just give it time. They eat their own is the point.
The snake eats itself.
Yep.
Always.
Give it time, because it can't coexist. You can't have it coexist.
That's their bumper sticker too, isn't it?
I know it. Yeah. I saw a car the other day with Biden Harris stickers on both sides of the bumper, and I was like fighting myself inside. Like, I just want to hit him. Just
a little tap. Put him in the wall. No,
just tap it in.
Well, it's just like during the showdown between Trump and Hillary. You know, you just make sure and you stopped everybody that had the Hillary Clinton sticker on their car. Hey, did you know that somebody vandalized your car? They're like, what? What? Yeah, they put a Hillary sticker on there. I don't know if you saw that or not. There's a pretty big one on there, yeah. Woo.
That's about right.
It's the right way to bring the resale value down for sure.
Yeah.
I guess you'll just, as long as it's not an Epstein sticker, you won't find that hanging around. But
hanging around.
Oh boy.
Bump.
Bazinga.
Oh my.
I think that's a good place to call on Jesus and have him forgive me for my sins just now.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
Yvonne, if you wouldn't mind giving us a closing prayer.
Okay. Oh my goodness, dear Father. Thank you. Thank you for the gift of laughter. Thank you for, even in these serious moments, thank you for your word, and thank you for your truth. And thank you for always looking out for us and taking care of your own. I pray protection for the president and for everyone here. I pray that you would walk with us as we go on this week and guide our steps. And we'll thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that wonderful message, Yvonne. I'm sure that's going to touch a lot of hearts. And I'm sure that intertwining our patriotism along with our faith is going to hopefully spark a lot of patriotism in this country again. And knowing that if you're got Jesus in your heart, that He wants you to stand up for what's right. And if you're going to stand up for what's right, then you're going to go to the polls and vote for the people that stand on those very same principles.
And if you don't know the connection between Christianity and our political beliefs, go back and watch my episode on the agenda with crystalrisotti on Christian citizenship. We go through biblical principles and how it all connects and your responsibility as a Christian.
Very good.
And I just want to say, once again, thank you for bringing that message, Yvonne. So that's been our good friend.
Here. Thank you.
Yvonne Metcalfe, the softer side of Faith, Family, and Politics. Next to her, we got my brother James.
Over here.
Here.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for dominating so much of the conversation.
I love to listen. I'm a great listener.
But when you contributed, it was very meaningful. So appreciate it very, very much. Across from him, you know her, you love her. She's the host of The Agenda with crystalrisotti. Crystalrisotti. She's got a guy.
Thanks for having me again. And
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for the message. It was really good.
It was fun.
And thanks for being here. Just thank everybody.
Oh, feel the love.
And just before I close things out, I want to remind you guys to go over to revolverbroadcasting.com and click on shop. And please buy all the threads. Like I said, you need new threads, and we've got them in lots of different colors and styles. And more to come all the time. It's almost like we have what's the new one? We got Trump Fight shirt. You guys are gonna
Trumpamania.
we got Trump Fight shirt there. It's up right up on the screen. We also have the Trumpamania shirt. Oh yeah, brother. What you gonna do when all the little Trumpamaniacs and all of Trumpamania runs wild on you, brother? I've been your host, Joshua Cummins, reminding you to stay in trouble, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
So just remember that. Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Demand the best from yourself and be totally unafraid to challenge.
Was enough! And I said, let Trumpamania run wild, brother! Let Trumpamania rule again! Let Trumpamania make